Hi everyone, this is Michael and this is your daily video for Thursday, July 31st. So first off, the content today is we're going to be continuing talking about hypothesis testing. We started talking about it yesterday, but then we're going to continue. Now we're going to start talking about how the beginning of setting up hypothesis testing. There's a video on it, and then you have two worksheets in the quiz. The first worksheet is all about how you set up these hypotheses that, as you can imagine, you test with hypothesis tests. How that happens, setting up the hypotheses. And the second one will talk about this idea of significance and how they relate to hypothesis testing and especially the decision you make with hypothesis tests. So those two worksheets, the quiz of hypothesis testing. So that's really new stuff today. Then the third and final Beyond the Classroom is becoming available today. The basic idea is you'll be finding an article that uses hypothesis testing in some way, and you'll analyze if it correctly uses hypothesis testing, what hypothesis the article is testing, and all that. We have some examples. If you need help, talk to us finding an article. But yeah, so there's more information about that in your book. It's Beyond the Classroom 3.2, and then also in the Beyond the Classroom folder we have more information about that. The CPR page is not yet set up, but it will be over the next few days. The text part of it will be due next Tuesday by 6 p.m., and then that Wednesday will be when you're doing the CPR review. So if you have any questions about that, let us know. Keep in mind you will need some time to find an article, so you may want to start thinking about it even if we don't have all the content yet. So there's a couple of things I've been noticing while grading your homeworks. I just want to reiterate something that Michelle mentioned, at least as a afterword on her previous video. Looking at sensitivity and false negative rate, specificity and false positive rate, you all seem to be doing a fairly good job of getting the numerators, that is the number on the top of your fraction, but you still seem to have trouble with the denominators. For false negative rate and sensitivity, the denominator will always be the number of positive realities. Sensitivity is how many of those are correct, how many of those you got correct by getting a positive, and then false negatives, how many you got incorrect by saying it was negatives. Similarly, the denominator for false positive rate and specificity will always be the number of negative realities, or the number that are actually negative. Specificity is how many of those you got correct by identifying as negative. False positive rate is how many of the fraction of those that you got incorrect by false positive. The way I remember the relationship, as you hopefully have seen, false negative rate is 1 minus sensitivity, or sensitivity is 1 minus false negative rate, and then false positive rate is 1 minus specificity, and specificity is 1 minus false positive rate. The way I remember that, false negative rate, false negative N, FNR, false negative has an N, sensitivity is the one with an N, they're the ones that are related. False positive rate, specificity, they both have a P, those are the ones that are related. I know it's sort of corny to remember that way, but that is how I still remember it. It's also handy to remember the difference between sensitivity and specificity, since it's a lot easier to remember what a false negative rate and a false positive rate is, and then you just connect it to the one that has the matching letter. And then finally, something I see come up a few times, specificity, I guess also sensitivity. But sensitivity is that rate at which it identifies positives as positives. It's not just how often it identifies something as positive, it has to be that it correctly identifies positives as positives. So it's only how often it correctly identifies, like say you're testing for a disease. It's how often you test for a disease that correctly identifies someone having the disease that actually has the disease. It's just not how often you find someone has the disease. They also have to actually have the disease. So yeah, that and the denominator thing were the two things I've been noticing. Please, if you're not getting 10 out of 10s on these assignments, go look at the answer key. They will tell you what you got wrong, or at least it will show you what the correct answer is, and you can compare it to your own to see what you got wrong. As always, if you have any questions about the answer key or anything, please contact us either through the discussion board or email. Otherwise, we have about a little over a week left. Oh yeah, so some of you have been asking about extra credit. We're talking about it. We're thinking we are going to drop some of your lowest assignment grades, so if you have a few that you feel are really bringing your grade down, we will probably be dropping those. And then also be looking for an extra credit opportunity sometime in the next few days. We will probably only be talking about the daily video, so keep that in mind. Anyways, hope you all having a okay time this week. If you have any questions, always contact us. But I will talk to you all later. Bye.